You're listening to ThunderQuack Podcast Network.
Hello there, and welcome back to Force Perspectives for the penultimate episode of Skeleton Crew. We're going to be in so much trouble. I am your host, Michael Cohen, and joining me, as always, slapball enthusiast, Joe Hogan.
You're penultimate.
Thank you.
Yeah, slapball's awesome.
Okay. Joe, why is this show so cool?
I don't know. We don't deserve it.
Right? I want to flashback really quick before we get into this great episode of television. I want to flashback really quick to like about 3-4 weeks before the show started to you being like, whatever.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I'm gonna give it a fair shake, but I don't think this one's gonna be for me. I don't really like kids in movies and
Yeah,
TV shows and blah
I
blah
was
blah.
very
Yeah,
cautiously optimistic.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
happy I was because it probably made my enjoyment of this multiply.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm a happy
I think
guy. I'm a
I
happy
think
guy right now.
I think you positioned yourself well
Yeah, for sure.
in order to enjoy the show. But the crazy thing that I keep coming back to is that like everybody likes it. Everybody likes this show. I don't understand it because I think I'm just so used to being on the outside of what other people want to see that people responding positively to a Star Wars show now in the year of our Lord George Lucas 2025, right? Like it just I honestly literally don't know what to do with myself. Now, here's a big component of this. I haven't logged into Twitter in like a month. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe over on Twitter, all the usual suspects are being just as awful as they always are. I just don't see them anymore, right? Like they're just out of my algorithm. They're just out of my field of view. And I'm also not in the space. This is the interesting thing about the move over to Blue Sky from Twitter is that like everybody who wants to like sit in the mud with the shitty people, right, like with all of the grifters and throw mud back and forth and continue to like play dirty like and do their shit. They're all still on Twitter. I'm pretty sure none of them have really migrated over to Blue Sky. Some of them like started accounts and were like, oh, let's check this out, but then like very quickly disappeared from it. And like the only people on Blue Sky in my feed are like cool people. It's very much like our Discord where it's like, oh cool. Like cuz like this is the thing. Not everybody is in agreement on everything, right? Like there's conversations going on and there's criticism going on for all sorts of different things. Not for this show for some reason. I don't understand. I don't understand. But whatever, I'm happy about it. It's like I'm it feels like I'm dreaming. I'm like pinch me and then I check the news and then I go, okay, no, this is real. This is real because everything else is terrible, on fire, literally in some instances. If you're in Southern California, please stay safe. But yeah, like I just like it's just so wild to me. It's so wild to me how this show continues to put out episode after like we have one low point in the season, and is it really that low of a low point? No, it's just kind of an okay episode, right? As compared to the rest of these that have just been like, damn, that was fun, damn, that was awesome, oh my god, that was cool, oh, that shot was beautiful, this ship is rad, those characters are so cool, I can't believe they just did that, right? Like it just and it's just it has given me everything that I want in Star Wars, but we've had this conversation so many times over the last couple of years of me going like, but I don't know, like, am I the one that's wrong, right? Like, is what I want from Star Wars, what I always talk about, like this perfect mix, this blend of all the different elements, is that not what people want? Because people seem to just want Andor, right? Like that, like that's what the conversation on the internet tends to be, is like, oh, Andor is the best Star Wars, and it's like, but it's missing so many of the things that make Star Wars magic, right? Include, like, quite literally, it's missing the magic. Like, it does, like, that entire story is like, no, that's not a part of this. We're not concerned with Jedi or, the Force or any of that stuff. Um, and then here's Skeleton Crew premiering in the same year as Acolyte, which you and I, over the moon for Acolyte, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what an incredible experience it was, getting Acolyte week to week. Um, Redefining a whole bunch of Star Wars, introducing characters that, like, we can't go back from. And I mean, like, when we did our live action lightsaber duel rankings, it's at the top. It just incredible stuff. But everybody, like, the internet was just like, oh, this is dumb, and it was like, oh, what are you guys talking about? You're ridiculous. So I really expected going into Skeleton Crew with it exactly what you said at the outset of this, of like, I don't know, man, it's a bunch of kids. I don't know. And I was like, yep, okay, I know I'm going to be down for it. I know, like, I trust John Watts. I love these types of stories in other media. I love that it's getting blended with my Star Wars. And I could tell from the trailers, this is going to have all of the, like, the whimsy and the fun and the energy, like that kid energy that I feel like has been missing, right? Um, so I'm just like, I am flabbergasted to be sitting here with one episode to go and the response being so overwhelmingly positive, and like, to get to enjoy this along with everybody else for a change, and not to feel like I am screaming like a a lunatic in the town square. You guys are wrong. This is good, right? Um, yeah, I I I love this episode. I love this show. I'm so happy about it. Like, they killed Brutus. They killed Brutus in this one,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Brutally.
yes, yes. Like, because, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but that scene happens, and in the lead up to it, it's like he's walking up the thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna go down, right? Like, they're gonna grab him in the claw, and then what happens next, sort of thing, right? And as Jod starts walking towards him, I'm like, just kill him. Don't give him, like, Jod, don't give him a chance. Don't give him the opportunity to do what he did last time, right? This is your shot. Like, you got, like, do it. And then he does, and I was like, hell yeah. Because the show is silly and fun, and it's kids, and it's all of that stuff, but it's still firmly, staunchly Star Wars. And so the reality of Star Wars is that Jod, this character that we have been following, Jack Silva, whatever you want to call him, right? Dash Zenton, whatever, has shown himself to be somewhat untrustworthy, conflicted to say the least, but dangerous for sure, right? But we haven't actually gotten to see him be ruthless as a pirate.
Mhm.
And so I was like, this is their opportunity to show us, and to really, like, crank up those stakes, and to do it by killing a character that all of us love, right? He's a bad guy, so we're like, we're not rooting for him, but everybody on the internet is like, Brutus is the best. Like, Brutus is so rad, right? He's a Boba Fett style character in that respect. And so for them to take that swing, and to have worked so hard on this character design, and him being because this is the sort of stuff that I've been talking about with Disney and Lucasfilm lately, is that, like they're so concerned with, like, characters for the lunchbox, and you know, like, don't do this, don't do that, and you know, like, oh, like we're not going to tell that story right now because we might want to do something with it in the future. They're so apprehensive about all of that. I have to imagine that there was a conversation with the story group with you know, with Filoni and Favreau, where it was like, is there not some way that we can, like, can we do this in a way that it's not clear whether or not Brutus died? Can we, like, put him in a pod and shoot him into space? What can we do? And I think that John Watts was probably like, no, we have to kill him. In the same way that I to use another one of his projects in Homecoming, right? In Spider-Man Homecoming, when the first Shocker gets killed, right? Like when Vulture, when he's not Vulture yet, but Michael Keaton's character, Toombs, he picks up the thing and he shoots him, and he, like, disintegrates. And it's this moment of like, oh my god, he just like disintegrated that dude. And like, we thought we thought this was the MCU Shocker, right? Because he's got the gauntlets and everything. So we're like, oh, this guy's gonna be the Shocker. He's completely irredeemable. He's a total douchebag. None of us are rooting for him. He's the Shocker. It's gonna be great in 4 movies when he's got the black suit and he's like, I'm gonna, what does Spider-Man say? He's like, I'm gonna rip you limb from limb or whatever. Such a great Spider-Man animated series moment, right? Like, we're all like geared up for that, and then he dies. But he dies because it's like, because that's the moment where we have to see that Toombs, because up until that point we're like, very similar to Jack. It's like, is he really a bad guy though? He's kind of just doing this for his family, right? Like, he's kind of just, I guess, spoilers for Spider-Man Homecoming, I guess, but like, it's like they're just stealing stuff and selling weapons, right? He's not actually a bad guy. He's not actually a supervillain. And then he disintegrates a dude in front of everybody, and they're all like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "Oh, I thought that was the anti-gravity gun." and then Tinker is like, "No, it's that one." And he's like, "Oh, whatever." And then he takes he picks up the gauntlets and tosses it to the other guy and goes, "You're the Shocker now," or whatever he says, right? Um, I and that's our moment where we go like, oh, this guy's a sociopath. Oh, he just murdered somebody and was like, oopsie doodle, and moved on with his life. Like, that's not normal. That's supervillain behavior, right? Like, he's a redeemable supervillain, so like, it makes for an interesting story. I am going into such detail on this because it's like, that's exactly what he did. He did the same beat in this episode with Silvo and Brutus. Like, that's exactly what he's, because going into this episode, I think that we were all kind of like, okay, because he didn't hurt Fern, right? Like, he was like, I'm gonna do it. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. I'm gonna do it though. Don't make me do it, right? And then when she says, I yield, the look of relief on his face was like, oh my god, thank goodness I don't have to murder a child, right? Like, so that was our as an audience going like, hey, he's not really that bad. He isn't really that bad. He's just like, a lot of this is an act, right? But this is our moment to go like, oh no, he'll kill someone. He will murder. Like, he is a pirate. Don't forget, he is actually a pirate.
I'm still
Oh,
not totally convinced. He could have stepped on that little ferret guy that
on the
lives
rat.
in.
Yeah. No.
He
Don't
chose
get me
not
wrong.
to. I don't know, man. I'm not there yet.
He's redeemable, just like Vulture, right? Like,
Yeah.
just like Vulture, who at the end of in the post credit scene, right, in Spider-Man Homecoming, Scorpion looks at him and is like, I got a guy, he's gonna get me out of here. Do you want in? I heard you know who Spider-Man is. And he's like, nah, I don't know who Spider-Man is. Like, you're crazy, right? And it's like that's our moment of going like, okay, so he is actually not all bad. He is not all evil. It's like, it's a circumstance type thing. And I like Silvo is the same. Like these characters are cut from the same cloth, and then both coming from John Watts projects. It's like, I draw that parallel really, really closely. So yeah, there is, especially the way the episode ends with the lightsaber and everything that he said before about, like, you know, I'll carve him up into pieces, right, and all that. like we're meant to leave this episode going into the finale going like, oh boy, how much danger is everybody really in? Um, but I do think that by the end of this, I don't think that he's going to have like made a full turn. I think that there will be the big conflict in the next episode. He will get away. He'll escape by the skin of his teeth. I true to character. And in that moment, we won't be sure the next time we see him if he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy, sort of thing,
Mm.
right?
And
And
the
I think you
giant
might.
gun is gonna shoot the giant pirate ship, right?
Oh yeah,
Like
for sure,
that
for sure.
has to be what's coming.
But I think Jack is going to escape with the cinder, and he's going to take off with it.
Do you think any of the kids are gonna be with him?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible,
I kind of
right?
see Wim going along.
I do too. I do too. I mean, because I see these two. This is the thing, especially when he's got them after he's killed Brutus, and then they're on the ship, and and you know Fern wants to say something. He's like say it, go ahead, say it, and then he's just like, all of you just like shut up, right? Like stop it, I've had enough. And and Wim is crying, and he's like, and he looks at Wim. His reaction there is not like Jack's reaction is not one of it's not the disdain that he has for the other kids, because I do think that like genuinely he does not like Fern, right? Like he looks at Fern and he's like, you are such a thorn in my side. I wish I could just kill you. I wish I could bring myself to do it, but I can't. But then he looks over at Wim and he's just looking at himself.
Yeah,
And
I
so
felt the same way. Yeah.
his reaction to Wim crying is not, he's not yelling at Wim, he's yelling at himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's like you just stop it, just stop it. And like I know this because I have been that person.
Yeah,
Like
he was the
Kara will do
Padawan. Yeah.
something and it'll be something that I would have done as a kid, and I will get so triggered and upset by it because I'm like, can't you just control yourself? And it's like, I'm not mad at her, I'm mad at me, and I'm mad at me for making her the way that she is, genetically speaking, right? Like, because it's ADHD is hereditary, but in case you guys didn't know that, it passes down, especially from father to children. So yeah, she'll do certain things and it'll set me off, and I will get disproportionately angry about it. And it's because I'm not, and it's like I am talking about this and being open about it because this is something that I am definitely working on and I don't want to do, but it's really, really hard, right? Because in those moments, it's everybody who ever yelled at you for that behavior, right, comes flooding back. And
Mm.
in your brain, you're like, it's like, because they're your kids, and you're going like, I'm telling you this because I want to save you from the pain of it. And then you catch yourself halfway through yelling at them going like, I'm the one doing it though,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm the one causing it. And it's like, man, it's so hard to pull out of that tailspin. So I see that moment with him, and I see him yelling at everybody else and yelling, like saying to Neil, like stop it, right? Like all of that. And I get like, that to me came off as very like sincere, very genuine. But then he looks over at Wim, and we get the shot of Wim, and the tears are going down his face. And then we cut back to Jack, and the look in his eyes is so different. This is where having Jude Law on this show is the most important part, is that we like absolutely needed an actor of his caliber that could, without saying a word, without actually betraying this to the audience, get across that there's something else going on between the two of them, rather like as opposed to like his dynamic with the rest of the kids and with
Mm.
the rest of the pirate crew and everybody else that he encounters in this story. There's a connection between those two characters that is that is much deeper. And that's where like I keep coming back to it. Like this is a master apprentice thing, and and when I say that, one of the reasons why I go there is because the dynamic of master and apprentice, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, Anakin and Obi-Wan, Luke and Yoda, I Luke and Rey, right? Like when those dynamics come together in Star Wars, and when they're really, really good, when they're really, really strong, the master learns as much from the apprentice as the other way around, right? Even though the dynamic is meant to be that the teacher is teaching the student always ends up imparting wisdom, right? And I there's there's a lot of that dynamic, I think, going back and forth. Like there's that two-way street between Wim and Jod, Nana Wood, Jack Silvo, Dash Denton. So that's where I see that, and honestly, like that would be my ideal circumstance, is that Jack takes off with the Cinder, and when he does, that Wim is with him. Maybe Jack doesn't know, like maybe Wim has like snuck on the ship at the last second, and that's kind of like that's the end of the season. Is this moment of the reveal of like Wim is also on the ship, and now they're off, and like it's some sort of a note of like like I knew you weren't all bad or something like that, right? Like some sort of element of that, of them going like there's more story here with these two in particular. Like maybe some of these other characters have kind of like fulfilled their purpose in the story, the parents mostly, right? But that Wim obviously has a lot more story to tell. I think so much of what's been set up is groundwork for bigger things. And there is no way to me that we resolve Jack's story in the next episode. It's impossible. It's impossible. There's way too much going on there, and we haven't even had like the proper reveal of his past. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't start with Order 66. This next episode starts with Order 66. And listen, I'm 0 for 2 on the last two episodes. Completely whiffed it on both. Right? Like my predictions for what we were going to see were totally wrong. And like I said last week, same this week, pleasantly surprised at how wrong I was and how different it ended up playing out. But it all felt right, correct, organic, right? But yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm still feeling pretty confident about specifically about Jack and Wim being master and apprentice. That like there's a Jedi vibe going on there. I don't know. I'm probably about like 40% on us opening with Order 66 and getting his backstory at the beginning of the next episode. Just like a real nice cold open, whoever his master was. And who did we establish it would be? Oh, Rail Averos, right?
Right. Yeah.
Benjamin Bratt. I that is such a like Babe Ruth, pointing at the stands called shot. It's like it would be so wild if we came back next week and it was like we were right. We were right. And it's like down to the Benjamin Bratt of it all. I yeah, that would be so awesome. It was like I don't know how we pulled that one off. No, there's like a 2% chance. I don't want to say it's a 1% chance, but it's like a 2% chance that's even that anybody else is even on the same wavelength as I was when I was like, who would be the best master for him, and who we don't have a resolution for in the Clone Wars and all that. But it would be great because it would be like, oh yeah, like let's button this up. We know what happened to Rael Averos. He died. And now we know why Jack is the way that he is, because he had Rael Averos for a Jedi Master. So he was very unconventional, and became a pirate. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get to see that, but I think that we might get to see some Order 66 stuff. It would be, oh man,
I have a question that
yeah,
needs clarification, I think.
okay,
Onyx Cinder.
yeah,
Wasn't it armored in the first place because the armor was there to protect the ship going to At-Aten? Why didn't it need the armor anymore to go back to At-Aten?
yeah. The order of events is interesting. It didn't come from At-Aten. They say it's an At-Aten ship. but what they mean is that it's one of these ships
From one of these
from
planets,
one of
right?
these
Yeah.
planets.
Yeah.
And we know that he went to the other ones,
Mhm.
and we know what he did on the other
Right,
ones,
he destroyed the
right?
star map and yeah.
Yeah. So the implication in the fourth episode is that the reason why everything is in ruins and the reason why that jewel of the Republic fell is because of what Rennet did, right? Like because like he went there and I'm I'm gonna go out on a limb because he took down the supervisor, right?
Mm.
Like he took out that computer, he took out that droid brain, which I think is actually that big ball, that big electric like generator thing. I think that's actually the supervisor
Oh, really?
inside the vault. Yeah, because this is the vault that's underneath the
Okay.
city, right?
Makes sense, yeah.
There
Okay.
are 1138 wink wink other vaults on the planet, but this is the one that's directly below the supervisor's tower, right? Because that's where they land and they go down. And if you think about it, like geographically, the tower is directly above that as they're going down and seeing that. And if that's not inside the vault, that was above the vault because they get down to the bottom and it actually like the platform actually turns around the other way. So it's actually the vault is actually like behind where they were facing towards the tower when they went in when it went down and then it turned around, so the vault is actually behind like behind where they landed and were facing, right? So yeah, like initially as they were going down they weren't seeing the vault, they were seeing something else underneath the tower. I think that big thing is there's a reason why we got to see it, right? And it's more than just like, oh, that's the thing that powers the city. I truly believe like that thing is the supervisor and Captain Renaud. It's Renaud, right? That's the pirate.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so. He destroyed it on all of the other planets, and so they without that they had no direction and fell into chaos and disorder and all of that sort of stuff. Disconnected from the rest of the High Republic, right? Um, yeah, that's my guess at what's happening there. Uh, and it's also my guess at how things are going to play out in the next episode is that's going to get destroyed. Uh, I'm curious about what's going to happen to all those other vaults because if there are 1138 other vaults like the one that we saw, yeah, I'm curious. But yeah, the ship itself I think came from one of those other planets,
Mm.
and so it has the codes to go to
Okay.
Adatin, right?
Okay.
Along with everything else. But that like he needed the ship because the ship has whatever system it's already set up, right? Like it's like he didn't need to. It was like why steal the codes and figure out how to get our ships to do this when I could just steal this,
Right.
right? When I could just steal this High Republic ship.
So why the armor then?
Because he's a pirate. Because he's a pirate, and I think it was like, yeah, I think it was, I because they were planning to lay siege to Adatin. Like that was the game plan. It's like we've got the ship, we've got the coordinates, we've got a plan, and then it was en route that his first mate was like, "You've got the ship, you've got the coordinates, you've got the plan. I get a cut." Not if I kill you, right? Because they're pirates. So he's like, not if I kill you, then I get all of it, right? Like then I'm in charge. Um, and yeah, I mean, like he was obviously not trustworthy. There's more story there because the concubine was part of the betrayal, right? So yeah, I mean, like I'm gonna go ahead and just imagine that there was a bit of a love triangle there, and that motivated things. I'm sure I am sure this concubine was with the captain and not by choice but by circumstance
What's a
and
concubine?
yeah, what's a concubine? It's enough story time. I because by definition, that's not really a it's not really a chosen position. But that the first mate was in love with the concubine,
Mm.
and that the concubine hated all of them, because who wouldn't in that circumstance? And manipulated the first mate into this situation. Uh, uh, and it resulted in everyone dying. Right? They crash the ship and everybody's dead, and that's who all the skeletons are inside the ship. I Yeah, I think I don't know how much of that we're gonna get. Like, I don't know how much more of an explanation we really need, but I think like that's the gist of it, right? So I think like they just were like, well, we're gonna take this ship and we're gonna clean out these vaults, right? But they're not gonna let us do it, right? At a certain point, they're gonna stop us. We're pirates. They're gonna know, right? Because you have to remember also that like Renad's doing this while these things are active, right? Not 200, 300 years after the fact, which is where we're at now, right? So Jack showing up, they haven't had an emissary in generations. No
Mm.
one's ever seen an emissary before. They see the ship, he steps off the ship, they go, you must be the emissary, right? And everybody is just going to accept it because there's nothing to measure that against. I know it's the droids that accept it, but like that's kind of the thing, right? But I think if in the midst of the High Republic, it would have been more like, wait a second, who are you? Like no, we can verify this. Like, we can actually communicate with the High Republic. Whereas like these guys have been so stuck in this dogma of like, don't talk to anybody in the outside world, and they never have, right? So there's, I think it's a very different thing of like, Jack's not as worried about it. He's also a con artist, right? Whereas I don't get the sense that Renaud, being like the most infamous pirate in Star Wars galaxy lore, I think he was probably much more of like a Blackbeard, like
Mm.
looking like a pirate, very much like a pirate. Because the thing about Jack is that like, doesn't really look like a pirate, right? And it's like, as he puts on the helmet because he's playing the part and all of that stuff. So I think that initially the Cinder, it was like no, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna like, this is gonna be a thing. We're gonna have to pull this off, and it's gonna be a matter of fighting our way out and knowing that they have the big guns and all of that stuff, right? Like, I think that he was aware of the defensive capabilities of these what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, like each of these locations, right? Like, having seen it with the other ones and having sieged the other ones, I think he was like, oh no, we need armor. We need to like armor up the ship, and it needs to be good to go. But I mean, all of that I think is just a contrivance. It's all just justification for the reveal in the last episode, and for it to now be this completely different ship that has a totally different vibe, right? Because we went from a ship that was like, yeah, that's a pirate ship, to now it's like, oh, that's a Jedi ship, guys. Like, that's a Jedi ship. Everybody knows that's the sort of thing that a Jedi cruises around the galaxy and saving people. I Yeah, that's my sense of it, at least. I don't know how you
Mm.
feel about it, but
I don't know. I don't know,
you,
man.
you don't know.
I don't know.
I
I
I
I feel like it can go anywhere at this point. I'm very
Yeah,
like.
hey, I've been wrong. I've been incredibly wrong the last couple episodes about what I thought was going to happen. So I'm open to the possibility, because this crew, this creative team has my full faith,
Yeah, I'm sure.
because they've
I feel like it's gonna be great.
yeah,
Whatever it is.
yeah, whatever the outcome of this next episode is, I will not be disappointed. This is very much like the finale for Acolyte, where I was like, I'm in
Mm.
your hands. Like, like go for it. Whatever is going to happen, whoever lives or dies, I'm not going to be upset. I'm
Well,
not going to
maybe.
I'm not going to be
Leave
grumpy
Neil
about it.
alone. Give Neil a
But
happy ending,
yeah,
please.
I yeah, well, with Skeleton Crew, maybe I have some slightly different feelings because yeah, you can't hurt Neil. Um, but yeah, like I'm very much like in the same position of like, go for it, man. Like I don't know what you guys have in store. I have my own ideas, but whatever it is that you're gonna do, I'm along for the ride. They have my total faith. Because yeah, it's been so good so far. It's so funny though, because I had this moment when they reveal the vault and Jack is going walking into it, and he asks the question, how many other vaults like this are there? And the droid is like 1130. There are 1139 vaults. I had this moment of like, let him take it. Like just let Jack take it. Like there's more wealth in this one vault than he could possibly manage.
Mm.
Somebody walk up to him right now and go, no problem. This means nothing to us. This means nothing to At-Atten. Take it. Take it. Take 3, 4 vault. There are 1139 of these filled to the brim with these High Republic credits, right? And we've seen that like a single one of these High Republic credits is essentially priceless to these pirates. They're looking at it and going like, this is like you are showing me 100, like this is a $1,000 bill, right? Like this is like legal tender. This is ridiculously valuable. And he's got like just that one pallet that he takes the one off and it falls and it just pours out, which is such an amazing scene.
Yeah, that
The
was a
way that
great
it just
sequence.
like flows
Yeah,
like water, like
yeah.
Scrooge McDuck into his hands, right? I was just like, oh my god, this is where
That was
like
so well animated.
oh dude, it was so good because it was like because I believed it, like I could
Yeah,
feel it, like the
yeah.
weight of it, but at the same time, it moved like water, right? Um, it was so good. And also a bit of a callback to Andor, right? Because there's the one point in Andor
Yeah,
where they steal
the
the
heist.
shipment
Yeah.
in the heist, and it's the same. Like it's sort of it looks visually very similar to
Mm.
the all of the Imperial credits, right? So I was like, oh, that's such a great connection between those two things visually. Um, but yeah, he takes the one and he's laughing, and it just starts falling off of it, and I'm just like let him, like we can avoid conflict here. It doesn't have to be anything. Like just let him take it. Let him take it. He'll take it, and let him come back. Who cares? The Republic's gone. Right? Like we know this as an audience. So I'm sitting there going like just like you guys are going to risk life and limb and fight the pirates on this moral stance. Like I know that that's the way that this is going to go, of like Jack is a bad guy, the pirates are bad guys, they kill people and blah blah blah. But the last episode, I know at least one pirate that's going to get his cut of this, and he's not going to be a pirate anymore. He's going to go farm kelp, right? So like I I just have this moment watching this where I'm like, the pirates aren't the bad guys. The Republic aren't the bad guys. The First Order aren't the bad guys. The Empire aren't the bad guys. It's capitalism, you guys. It's capitalism. It always has been and it always will be. That's the only reason that any of this stuff happens. It is capitalism. That's the bad guy. So just let them take the money. Just let them take the money and go be what they want to be, because now they have unlimited wealth. Like I don't care. You could have 1,000 pirates on that ship, it doesn't make a difference. There is more than enough to go around for all of them, right? For all of them to leave and do their own thing. And some of them are going to go do evil stuff. Vane is not going to do good stuff with his cut, right? But like, who cares? It's not going to happen on Ad Adden, except for the fact that like this, like capitalism is going to rear its ugly head, and the greed's going to come in because Jack is going to feel like, I need to control this, and Vane is going to definitely mutiny once he knows what's down there, right? Like, that guy can't be trusted. And like, along with that, I don't know where Gunter is sitting at the moment. I don't know what's up with Gunter.
He's fallen and he can't get up.
Yeah, I he just wants to know if they have any cheese. I but yeah, it was such a an epiphany moment for me of like, it's all it's all such bullshit, right? Like money, like the concept of money and how we do this stuff is just like, it just all it does is bring bad stuff. That's it. All it is bad. And even though like Jack is in this moment of like pure joy and ecstasy, having found this fortune, right? He's found his treasure. We know for a fact this isn't gonna fix him. It's not gonna fix him. Whatever's wrong, this isn't it. He thought it was. This is what he's been searching for. I'm gonna go out on a limb, since Order 66, right? But this isn't going to heal that. We know what's going to heal that, and it's Wim. Wim's going to heal that. Becoming a Jedi again is what's going to heal it, right? But he does have like that brief moment, but it's an illusion. Like, it's false, right? I and so yeah, like I had all like this. It was 1:30 in the morning, and I just like all of this stuff was just flooding into my brain as I'm watching, going like it's all like there are 1,139 of these vaults stacked to the rafters and beyond. I mean, like the size of that cavernous vault is unfathomable to us. Like, I don't like that is a structure. That's a superstructure, right? Like that vault is, imagine that one pallet that he pulls the credit off of and it all just pours off. Imagine that one pallet multiplied to fill a Costco warehouse, right? And imagine that each one of those credits is pure gold, right? Like it's a solid piece of gold. And imagine how much money that is, right? Now, take that Costco warehouse, however big you think a Costco warehouse is, the idea of it, because I don't even think that we really like can look at a Costco warehouse and look at the volume and go, it's this big, right? But like, just think of that and then multiply that by, I don't know, 100. I think that's probably what we're looking at, right? Like it, because it goes up like 10 Costco warehouses, and it goes back 10 Costco warehouses, easy, because you look at that space, it was like massive, right? And it's like it's inside the planet. Like, we've gone down. It's like we've had a whole monologue in the time that it's taken to go all the way down to this thing. It's so deep under the surface of this planet. It's so huge, and there are over 1,000 of these full of all of this. That money is meaningless. It's meaningless, right? Like, you think about how much there is there. If you know anything about economics, take all of those credits. Imagine that all of those are full. They're all just absolutely full to the brim, because this planet has been producing credits for hundreds of years without anybody taking them, right? Without anybody coming to pick up a shipment. You take all of that, you put that all out into the market, it's devalued instantly because there's so much
Yeah.
of it. It's not treasure anymore. There's too much of it for it to be treasure, right?
Yeah.
The
The
only
worth goes
reason
down.
that the gold doubloon is worth anything is because Scrooge McDuck is keeping most of them in his money bin, right? He's controlling the flow of it. You put all of that out into circulation, and all of a sudden, like, that's why we don't just print money, right? Like, that's like, because economics is all fake. It's all made up. It's pretend, right? And it's all just there to support capitalism. It's not, I mean, like, the concept of economics isn't fake, because barter systems and stuff like that existed before. money and cash tender and all that. But like the way that we do it today is such nonsense. It's such pure nonsense. The stock market, all of that stuff. And so I'm just watching that. I'm just going like, what an incredible sci-fi illustration of how stupid we are that we put all of our stock in capitalism in this stupid thing that like if you had unlimited resources, you just print this stuff, it would become meaningless. It would become, it's because it's just pouring through his hands and dropping on the ground, and it's like, and he's sitting there looking at it going like, what is in my hands is enough to buy a ship, right? So everything else is excess and it doesn't matter. It's just like, and that's what he's laughing about. So I don't know. I guess I'm a socialist now. Now, I've been
Yeah, just now.
Skeleton Crew radicalized me.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
with all that woke Star Wars you
yeah,
consume.
yeah. I, but like, but that's kind of the thing with this show. I think is that like that is there, and I don't think that I'm reading too much into it. I think that the stuff that I'm talking about is definitely a part of like thematically the undercurrent of the story. But I think one of the reasons why this show is being as well received as it is that those elements of it, you said woke, right? And like I agree, and to like saying woke is now like a charged uh, piece of terminology that has a whole bunch of connotations to it, but like I think it's apt because those ideas are in here, right? I the morality stuff, the good versus evil, the you know, like slave to the system, meaninglessness of capitalism, freedom of choice above all else, right? All this pirate stuff that we've talked about in previous episodes. It's all in the show, but at no point does anybody ever stop and specifically say it, right? Even Andor, which is brilliantly written and a great show, stops multiple times throughout the show to be like, hey, by the way, this is what this is about, right? Like there are literal multiple character monologues where characters are like, you know, like I mean the kid that dies, right? And it's his manifesto or whatever that is very clearly the foundation of the rebellion, right? And it's like, and he says all sorts of stuff that is like very like I wokeism trigger words, right? Like he says all sorts of stuff. And then even Stellan Skarsgård's character, when he has his monologue, it's very like, you know, I was, it says I burned myself for a dawn that I'll never see or whatever, right? Like whatever it is that he says, it's such a great monologue. It's so good. But that stuff is all like, it's all like very on the nose, and it's very like, you know, and the Andy Serkis stuff in the prison on Narkina 5, it's like, it's all very like keep your head down, don't rock the boat, just survive, right? Like that stuff is very like on the nose. This show is imparting a lot of wisdom, I think, and it's talking about a lot of things thematically without ever needing to say it. The closest we got was Jack's monologue last week, and even that was like very, I think it was very subtle, because it wasn't like, because there was so much going on in that one of him, like he's, yes, he's manipulating the rest of the pirates, but he also believes this, and this is actually like, this is what piracy is actually about, right? Is like this freedom from an oppressive system, from an oligarchy, from a monarchy, all of that stuff, right? That's why they're out there, that's why they're doing what they're doing. So it's like, it's about all that stuff, but without them ever actually saying it, right? And it's a condemnation of those things without ever actually saying it, because at no point is he like it's the republic's fault, it's the empire's fault, it's the rich people's fault. He never says that. But what he does say is like, you want a kelp farm, and there's no way you'll ever do it. Like, they came in and they control everything, and but you just want a kelp farm. That's what you're saving up for, your kelp farm. Well, I know where there's a treasure, and you'll have your kelp farm, right? Like that's all. It's all so subtle. Like it is actually thematic, and I think like because of that, some of the people who might catch on to it aren't catching on to it, right? And they're just taking in this great story. And to me, honestly, like that's the way to do it. I almost feel bad uncovering it because it's like if they listen to this, then they're gonna be like, wait, Skeleton Crew was woke the whole time. It's like it's the astronauts on the moon, right? It was round the whole time. No, what is it? It's like, oh, the Earth is round and is always what. I don't know what the original meme is, but it's the astronaut seeing the Earth from the moon, and then the other astronaut behind him with the gun at his head. It's like always was, and he's about to kill him, right? I, I, yeah, these people who are like Star Wars is woke. It's like, yeah, yes, always was. But George was just really like he was really good about couching those things in these other things, distracting you with window dressing. The Empire look like Nazis, but they're actually the Americans. FYI. Yeah. Anyways, I really like Skeleton Crew and I really like Star Wars, and I'm really happy that it is as good as it is. I and I've talked 90% of this episode, Joe. I want you to talk. I want you to say what you think about this
I mean,
stuff.
I kind of did already. I'm also very low energy. I've been awake like 20
Yeah,
hours
yeah,
or
yeah.
something ridiculous at this point. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much else to say other than I am very excited for next week. I'm wildly speculating what's gonna happen. There was a time where I even convinced myself, oh, maybe the little rodent guy that lives in SM-33 actually controls him. But that doesn't make sense because there were like overridden protocols and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went back on that. But it's Star Wars. Weirder things have happened. Um,
Oh, can that reminds me? Can we talk about SM-33 for a
yeah,
second?
sure.
Because I'm gonna ask you the question because
Okay.
I want to get some stuff out of you, but
Okay.
because I have thoughts on it, but I want to know what you think.
Okay.
I the moment when he's like you can't be captain of both ships, right? And so it's like whoever lays claim, right? And so then Wim's about to do it, and Jack grabs him and covers his mouth, and he's like, I claim it, and it's like, all right then. And then Fern walks up and she's like, I call on claimsies, which is such a like Goonies. It's
Yeah.
so good, right? Because this is like the it's the moment of them in Goonies finding oh, what's his name? What's the guy's name? The weird dude,
Sloth?
right? Sloth, thank you. Um and they think that Sloth is a monster. They think that Sloth is a bad guy, but it's Sloth's got the Superman shirt on, right? And it's like cuz such a great moment in that movie when it's like he's Superman. He's a hero, right? Um and she calls on claimsies and he's like, you can't do that. That's not in the code. And SM-33's response of close enough is so good because it's like he doesn't like Jack.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a droid, and 33's got like an excessive personality because canonically we know if you don't wipe a droid, eventually
Yeah.
they
They go
develop
nuts.
sentience, right?
Yeah.
So like 3PO has been wiped a whole bunch of times, which is why he constantly goes back to protocol,
Mm.
right? But R2's never gotten wiped, right? It's clear from the escape from Naboo in Phantom Menace until Rise of Skywalker. It's on somebody's list and everybody keeps forgetting to give them a memory wipe. They've never formatted that hard drive, right? So R2 has complete autonomy. He's like you can't stop R2 from doing what R2 going to do, right? And I think 33 is very similar where it's like cuz he was a pirate droid. So it's like, yeah, no, we're not going to wipe his memory. He was Renaud's right hand, right? So like, yeah, no, he needed him loyal and he needed him uh independent, right? I which he was. And so he's got this great moment. I said that I was gonna let you talk, and then I said all my stuff. I want to know how you felt about that moment, and if you like. I had to be real quiet because everybody was asleep. Did you cheer?
I didn't cheer, but I definitely had a verbal reaction.
Yeah,
Um, I was very happy. I Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, the fact that his memory hasn't been wiped, so therefore
Yeah.
he just has more independence. It's just I wasn't expecting it because of how rigid he's been to the code, where really I think I don't know what the implication is in term like why he was so rigid with the code up until this point. Like obviously at this point he just prefers the kids and he like really likes them and would
Mhm.
rather hang out with them than with John. Um but I'm just curious why up until this point that wasn't his behavior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was he just able to override it because now he felt strongly about it, where before then he was just like, yeah, well, this is my job, so I'm just gonna do it. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I loved the moment. I was so excited when it actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the elements of it that Jod is so quick to turn on anybody, right?
Mm,
And he's so quick, like he's just like he's slimy, right? He's there's the thing about a pirate code, right? And this is like a Pirates of the Caribbean type of thing, right? Like one of the things that they did so well in that movie, the first one, is that there were pirates that were adherent to the code as long as it suited them, right?
mm,
And then there were pirates who were adherent to the code because they had an internal code of honor that synced up with the pirate code,
right.
right? And so that's where you get the difference between, in that first movie, Barbossa and Jack Sparrow, is that Jack's adherence to the code is actually in line with his internal moral compass, right? And he's a like Han, like so many scoundrel characters, he's like a very reluctant hero. He's like, no, I'm a bad guy. You don't want to be around me. Don't trust me. I'm a bad guy, right? But then underneath it's like, no, but you make a lot of decisions that are like self-sacrifice and you're very heroic at the end of the day, right? Whereas Barbosa was like, okay, yeah, parlay, sure, whatever, like, because this doesn't really affect me, I can continue doing what I'm doing. But the second that they invoke the code and it's gonna stop him from meeting his objective, he's like, nah, I don't respect your authority in this circumstance. Nice try. Because he's a slimy pirate. And then he has a redemption arc over the course of the three movies that he's in,
Right.
where he becomes an honorable pirate by the end of it. I Because it's like a Fast and the Furious thing. You hang around for long, and if you don't become one of the good guys, but which they're just stealing from Dragon Ball Z. But everybody Goku meets, he fights with, and then eventually they become a good guy, except Frieza. I but but yeah, it's like it's so I think that 33 is like sort of um self-aware enough as a droid that, like, yeah, his protocols are to follow the code and to enforce the code and to honor the code, but that he is also able to interpret the not just the letter of the law but the spirit of the law as well.
Mm,
um I also think that there might be a piece at play here of the things that KB did to him after the fourth episode, right? That was off screen because she was like, "Oh yeah, I overrode or rerouted like some of these protocols or whatever,"
mm,
and so because of that, he's able to like get around some of this stuff,
okay.
and maybe it just in the circumstance under the spa, right? In the whatever that cave was, right? His vault there, the pirate vault, nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. They just accepted the circumstance, um, which had to happen there. And then they go through like the our Skelly Bellies had to go through their dark night of the soul and then come back together as a team, and as the Phoenix Reborn. And so now, under the same circumstances, Fern is able to do what a captain needs to do, which is to figure it out, right? And so she's able to go like, I call in claimsies, right? It's like, and it's almost like a response to Jod's sort of like sliminess. She's like, well, if you're just gonna keep breaking the rules, if you're just gonna keep being underhanded, then so will I. Right? Like if pirate rules, then pirate rules, and the pirate rules are the same rules as kids use. Right? It's like, no takebacks. Right? Like that sort of thing. So for her to call on claimsies, and then I think 33 looking at that and going like, yeah, no, good. It's
Yeah.
good enough for me.
Yeah,
It's
checks
good enough
out.
for me. Yeah, no.
It's an older code, but it checks
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought of I mean I know it's not a reference to it, but I thought of Peter Venkman's. Well, it's more of a guideline than a rule.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. No, it's such good stuff. It's such good stuff. And then, but then to immediately have it just like we get this great high of like, yeah, it's good enough for me, and you're like, yeah, 33, and then Judd,
No.
and then Judd chops his head off. But I mean, like, listen, 33 is fine. 33 is fine. He cut him through the neck.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
His circuits, his memory circuits are all going to be intact. He just needs to have his head put back on. Yeah, it's going to be all right. It's going to be just fine. One thing that I will be interested to see is like is how that's going to play out. There are other pirates on the Cinder, aren't there?
On the Cinder? No,
yeah,
I think Jod was the only one that snuck on. Because the other ones were unconscious. The ones that
yes,
were left
okay, yeah. Because it was like sort of, yeah, okay. I need to watch the episode again. I've only watched it the one time, and it was in the middle of the night, so it's like there's a lot of stuff I think that's kind of like blending together. Of the because there's the moment when they're watching the video and all that stuff. Yeah. So good,
I might.
guys.
I mean, if not like watch it, but I might put the show on like episodes 1 through 7 between now and
Oh yeah, like start to
next week,
finish.
just to like refresh everything.
Crystal and I did that with Acolyte. For the finale of that, we just like start. I think like the night before, I was like, let's just start at the first episode. Like, let's just go because most of them are like 30 to 40 minutes. I think that we can get through this. Like, I think that we can watch them all before the final episode premieres tomorrow.
Other than episode 1 of this show is also like 30 minutes, right? Like, they've all been like
so
less
quick.
than 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's so quick. Yeah, I don't think it'll be hard. I don't think it'll be hard at all to do that over the course of the next few days to get them all back in, and then like right into it. I'll be interested. I'll probably do it as well because I'd be interested how the 4th episode plays when we didn't have like that big gap and the wait and then watching it and then it being like, oh, nothing really happened until the very end, right? But to watch it as part of the complete story, I think it'll flow better. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Was there anything else? I think I hit everything that I wanted to.
Yeah. I didn't have a ton, but I was excited about the things that we talked about. It was all stuff that I've been jonesing to discuss since watching the other night.
Yeah. I can't wait for this finale, but then also it's going to be done, and then it's done.
That's really the thing that I'm having the most
killing me
reaction to right now is I like this show so much. Between this and Dan now being finished, I'm just like, what do I do with my life now?
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, and it's just like marking days off the calendar until Dan comes back, right? Mm-hmm. But we at least know that is coming back for sure, and when it's coming back for sure. So
and Andor too. Andor is April.
We've got
right.
I was gonna say we've got Andor in between, and we also likely have Visions season 3, right? Because we don't have an actual date for Vision season 3 yet.
No.
But I think the expectation is May 4th, right? I think I wouldn't be surprised.
Could be.
If that ends up being the case. I think, we'll get the finale for Skeleton Crew, and then soon after, this is one of those things for me. Maybe they'll be smart about this. Maybe they'll actually do it, because with Agatha All Along, I think during the finale, no, it was during What If, just recently, the final episode of What If, when you're watching it on Disney Plus, like, it's the only place to watch it, right? But it played the trailer for Spider-Man, for the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which like had dropped earlier that day, or maybe the day before. But then, like, when I sat down to watch What If, instead of it just going right, because I think I had 2 or 3 episodes in a row to watch to the finale, and it got to the final episode, and before the final episode played, they played the trailer for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with the date of January 29th, to be like, hey, this one's done, but like, we're just gonna let you know when the next thing is. They haven't done that with Star Wars yet, but we do know when the premiere date for Andor is, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a trailer next week for Andor. I think it would be the right thing to do. I think it would be smart for them to do it. I don't know if they will, but they should, because in the past they've been so. This is where I go, like, I don't know what's going on at Lucasfilm, because it seems to me, if you guys want things to do better, you'd be pulling certain levers at certain times in order for that to happen. But nobody's doing anything. They're just like putting these shows out. There's no merch. There's no fanfare. Like, go find me a Skeleton Crew t-shirt, guys. Go find me one that's not fan made. It's ridiculous,
Yeah,
right? Like,
it's
other than the
wild.
action figures, which Hasbro finally pulled their heads out of their asses
Oh
and
my
started releasing
god.
figures when the shows are on.
Instead of a year later.
My god, like, there's stuff for Mando that, like, we still haven't gotten figures for, right? And it's like, it's ridiculous. I mean, like, we're still in 2025, we're still sitting here and we've never gotten a Ben Solo figure from Rise of Skywalker, when, like, that is a license to print money. Like there are Raylos all over the world that, if you know, like, they would react like Jod if you like he does with all the credits flowing through his hands, if you gave them just a single Ben Solo piece of merch. So yeah, like, I don't understand why Hasbro doesn't just print that money, because they could release that Ben Solo figure, I promise you. And if they did it in a 2-pack with Ray, they like release that figure and charge $75 for it, American,
Is
right?
there no Chimera figure?
There is no Chimera figure.
What?
Yeah, there's no stranger, right? With the helmet and everything. I think that there might be a Chimera on the way, but I think that it's a vintage. I don't think that it's a Black Series.
That's
think
wild.
I think there's a vintage Chimera on the way.
What the hell?
Hasbro Chimera figure. The helmet you can get the Black Series
Yeah,
helmet.
I saw that helmet.
Yeah. No, I don't. I think everything that I'm seeing, I think these are all just customs. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about the vintage one. I thought I saw a vintage one, but maybe I just dreamed it. I buy it instantly. How's there not a Hot Toys already, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
come on,
crazy
guys.
too. Are
Come
there
on,
any
guys.
Acolyte Hot Toys? I feel like no, right?
I don't think so. I don't think that. No, that's not true, because I think that I used a May Hot Toys as reference when I was doing my drawings back
Really?
in October.
That's cool.
So there might be one for May, but
Okay.
I think that might be it. Or maybe I was just using the Black Series figure. Maybe I was just using the Black Series figure at that time. Which I have one now. Crystal got me one for Christmas. But I haven't opened her yet. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, I don't know if I like, because May's not my favorite character from Acolyte. So I was like, I don't know. Should I maybe see if I can, like, swap this at the GameStop? But now I'm kind of like, no, well, maybe I should just go buy other Acolyte characters. Maybe that's what I should do. Yeah, no Chimera figure yet, which is just insane. it's insane that all they've given us is the helmet, is the Black Series helmet for this. But Skeleton Crew, at least, like, I think everybody is there except for Jod. I don't I think they did Brutus instead, right? Like, I don't think that they've done Jack.
Mm.
But all the kids are. You can get all four of the kids. Because I've seen. Well, I don't know that I've seen Wim, but I think I've seen all the other ones. I Yeah, but it's nice for a change that they're figuring that out and getting the figures out when the shows are on TV.
Yeah.
I it's nice for a change, but I don't know what put me on that on the toys. Oh, just like they're just Lucasfilm, and they're uh, like it's this weird thing of like, you guys want people watching these shows and you're gonna put all these ads on TV for them, and you're gonna, plaster bus shelters with ads for these shows, but you're not gonna do the things that actually get your most important audience going. Because, like, trying to get the general audience to check out these shows is, I think, a bit of a fool's errand. But when you get the fans whipped up, and then we do stupid stuff like line up in front of movie theaters for a week, right? Like, stuff like that. Like, you create events like that, then the news goes out and goes like, look at these dumb Star Wars guys, right? And like, Conan O'Brien sends out a talking dog puppet to make fun of us, rightfully so, because we're ridiculous. Um, and then, that's better marketing than you could put out a million trailers, right? That's, I don't know. They act like that stuff is the way to do it. Oh no, there's a Jod figure. Yeah, so there's six in the series, and it's all four kids, Jod and Brutus. So there you go. Yeah, Hasbro's actually got their act together for this show. That's surprising. Yeah, but I'm glad. I'm happy for it. Let's make this the way that things go from now on,
Yeah.
please. Um, but yeah, I so I don't know. I that all that to say, I hope that we get an Andor season 2 trailer next week so that people can be excited about Andor. But what that says to me is that, like, we're not going to hear about Vision season 3 until Andor is done. Probably when it's on its way out, like, in the same way, right? Like, I think it would be an appropriate thing for them to do. Uh, a Visions trailer that premieres with the last episode of Andor. Although, oh man, I need to look at it because Andor is going to be another 12 episodes, right? So if we look at the calendar, it premieres. I'm pretty sure it premieres the 22nd,
Mm.
which is the week after Celebration. I and then it's 12 weeks, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did I just do that right? That takes us, no way. It takes us all the way into July.
That sounds right.
I mean, I guess so, right? Yeah, it's I mean,
Because
12
it's like
episodes
the
is
end
3
of
months.
April and probably early July,
April,
right? So
May, June, July. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, like, yeah, if it's I'm crazy to say that, if we're expecting May the 4th is a Sunday though. So I don't know what we're gonna get premiering for May the 4th. Probably nothing.
mm.
Maybe we'll get a Mando trailer because that's a year out from Mando and Grogu,
Mm.
right? That's probably what they have planned. If that's the case, then we won't get Visions. We won't get Visions for May the 4th because they'll want to keep that. If Andor has just premiered at that point, right? Like, we've got. Actually, I mean, like, Andor is probably only 11 weeks because I'll bet you anything that we get a 2 episode premiere. But because we always do. So we'll get the 2-episode premiere, and then 10 more weeks of Andor, but that's irrelevant because May the 4th is literally like a week and a half later. It's not even 2 weeks later. So I don't know. Or we are getting Star Wars Visions then, and we're gonna get a trailer like next week. Because maybe they're not worried about Andor and they're not going to promote Andor. This is the thing, is that at this point, it is impossible for me to predict what Lucasfilm and Disney marketing are going to do, because they just aren't making logical choices. I think they're working with the same marketing team that Nintendo is.
Oh, dude,
As we
do
sit
not
here,
get me started on this Switch 2
as
stuff.
we sit here on January 9th
Oh my
at
god.
11 a.m. and we have still yet to hear official word of the Switch 2.
Did you see the official renders that like another company posted like yesterday or the day before?
No.
It's
No.
crazy. This is crazy now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've all but seen this thing. Yeah, so yeah, like and that's the thing, is that like we're sitting here going like what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Yeah, celebration is the week before Andor. There'll be, maybe we will get all this stuff at on May the 4th, because it'll be like at Celebration they'll get to see a trailer for Star Wars Visions. They'll get to see a trailer for, I mean, they'll get to see Andor, probably, most likely, in the way that we got to see Obi-Wan. I they'll get to see the trailer for Mando and Grogu. No doubt, cuz I got to see stuff for Mando and Grogu. No, that would have been way too early. That wasn't even announced yet. I guess that stuff leaked, right? That trailer leaked, of the ATRT falling down the like them like going down the side of the mountain or whatever.
By the way, I just sent you a picture of the leak.
Yeah, I see it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
This thing, this unannounced system that we've seen so many images of already. Nintendo, just tell us about it, guys. Come on. But yeah, like we'll get the Mando and Grogu trailer at Celebration. We will hopefully get the announcement of whatever the animated project is. We will hopefully get an official announcement of the next trilogy, the new Jedi Order trilogy. Even Celebration will get some sort of teaser. I guarantee it. They'll get some sort of like I at Celebration in 2015. I got to see a teaser for Rogue One, which I don't know that teaser has ever officially made it out anywhere. I don't know if it's on like the Blu-ray or anything like that. But there was a very first teaser that was just like sort of some dialogue from like towards the end of the movie of them like of like chatter over the comms to Rogue One, but it was just like a jungle canopy that were like sort of going like flying over, and then TIE fighters pass by and you sort of pan up, and as you pan up you see the Death Star.
Didn't they literally
sort of like
recycle that footage into something else? Like literally
so.
that footage of those trees eventually panning up. I feel like, because I remember seeing like a cam version of that, and then 2 or 3 years later that shot ended up in something else Star Wars that was not Rogue One.
Yeah, I think so. I think that sounds right. That sounds familiar. But that was like they I don't even think that they had shot everything at that point.
Yeah.
In 2015, because that was like that would have been like May of 2015, right?
Okay.
So I think that they were still shooting.
Maybe reshoots by that point.
Yeah, maybe you might be right. Maybe it was like reshoots or whatever. But the movie was still more than a year away, right? So there was no other trailer. There was nothing else to show. So they did that. I think we'll get a similar thing at Celebration, or at least like people behind closed doors in one of the probably like the big panel at the beginning. We'll get to see something for right before they bring out Daisy Ridley, and then Daisy Ridley brings out John Boyega and Oscar Isaac, and then the internet explodes because Adam Driver is also coming back. I'm just willing these things into existence at this point. But I think before that, before they bring out Daisy, they'll play a little teaser, and I think the teaser will be like probably some dialogue about. It'll probably be some Last Jedi dialogue of Rey and Luke arguing about the Jedi, right? About, him being like, this like that's why the Jedi need to end or whatever. But then like finishing with him being like, I won't be the last Jedi sort of thing. Like they'll cut something together really artful like that, and it'll just be like a black screen that's sort of like fading in. And they'll probably do the same thing. It'll be like some like thing, and it'll pan up, and when it pans up, we'll see a Yuzhan Vong ship I in like in orbit or something like that, and it'll be like, oh my god. Yeah, if they're doing a new trilogy, they got to confirm Yuzhan Vong, or what are we doing? They're gonna call it New Jedi Order and not have the Yuzhan Vong. What are we doing here? I yeah, I still maintain we're gonna get Yuzhan Vong Ahsoka season 2. You remember how adamant I was about that? That was fun because we were just screaming into the void for that one because of the strike. So like there was no feedback on our conversations whatsoever. I wasn't even really talking about stuff online that much because of the strike.
We weren't posting those.
Yeah, and but I was sitting there the whole time going like, I think that we're gonna get a reveal of the Vong at the end of this because they're in another galaxy, and that makes sense. And
you know what though, you could still be right. It's just not this season.
Oh yeah, what? Wouldn't it be crazy because we predicted so many things about Ahsoka and Sabine coming back for the Thrawn stuff? What if they don't? Right? Like what if they don't make it back? What if Ahsoka season 2 has nothing to do with the Thrawn stuff and is just Ahsoka, or it does, and we're cutting between the two because we're seeing that like while they're stuck there and have no way of getting back, we've got Ezra and Hera and Zeb like gearing up to fight Thrawn and all of that stuff, like the Empire stuff. But Ahsoka and Sabine don't ever make it back for any of that stuff, and that actually like the end of season 2 of Ahsoka is actually them like discovering Sonoma Sekot, and it's like, oh, we're not going to see Ahsoka and Sabine until the third movie. Like it's like they're just like calling the shot right there of like, yeah, we know that you guys that know this stuff know how this ends, right? So why not just show you right now that it's Ahsoka that's gonna do it, right? That like Ahsoka's gonna bring this, and Ahsoka could like she could take the place of Vergier in the story, right? Maybe not with such obnoxious and dire consequences as Vergier's part in everything, because Vergier is the reason why everything goes to hell after the New Jedi Order, because she's the one who tells Jason Solo that the light side and the dark side don't exist. It's just perspective, right? Like terrible sowing those seeds, and then he becomes, what's his name, Darth Caedus.
Yeah.
Come on guys, that's not how George did things. But yeah, I don't know, maybe not, probably not. I'm probably way off base. Dave won't sideline Ahsoka for an entire generation, will he? There has to be an explanation for why she's not in the sequel trilogy, right? But that like we can keep her.
she's just like, this movie's bad, I don't want to be in it.
Yeah, because everything that goes down, it's like well, where's Ahsoka, right? Because then they have the whole thing of like, we don't, do we hear Ahsoka's voice in Rise?
But it's Ashley Eckstein, obviously.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. But there was a whole thing of like, so we know Ahsoka's dead, and then everybody was like, do we?
Well, Dave literally was the one to who knows? All right, Dave.
Yeah, he Filoni'd that one. He Filoni'd that one real hard. Well, I don't know.
Making a
His
lot
dot,
of
dot, dots.
assumptions, guys.
Yeah.
Shut up, Dave.
Yeah. Just yeah. Yeah. I want to go off on a whole rant, but I won't. I Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I feel like they want to keep Ahsoka, right? Like I feel like Ahsoka has become what I refer to as like the lunchbox characters, right? R2, 3PO, Boba Fett, Vader, Stormtrooper, even Clone Trooper to a degree, because people can easily confuse it for a Stormtrooper, so they don't mind. General Grievous, Yoda. I think that Ahsoka has become one of those characters because she's iconic enough and meaningful enough to an entire generation that it's like, yeah, you can put the Fulcrum logo on something and people know what it is. Like Ashley Eckstein has proven that time and time again. You can make a hoodie and you can just put the Fulcrum logo and a Star Wars logo on it, and you can sell that hoodie for $120, right? Like, and it's like, oh yeah, it's an athletic hoodie. It's $120.
Bonus
It's like,
if you add some blue Leku stripes
yeah,
on
yeah,
the sleeves.
exactly. Yeah,
it'll sell even faster. But yeah,
and that's all it takes. Like, so Ahsoka has become a character of that caliber, and with that in mind, it's like, yeah, like they got to be looking at it and going like, how do we have that character pass the torch to Rey, right? Because that's how they think. It's like, well, we had Han pass the torch to her, but they didn't like that because Han was a boy, and a boy can't pass the torch to a girl because that's a girl replacing a boy. But we can have a girl replace a girl. That's okay, right? It's like, I don't think you can do anything. Actually, I think that no matter what you do, these people are going to be obnoxious about it, except for make Skeleton Crew. Somehow Skeleton Crew persists. Maybe I should just log into Twitter and check.
I think
Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I think you are so much happier not doing that.
Right?
Protect your peace, Michael.
Yeah. Maybe I'll wait until after the finale. I'll wait until after the finale when we need material post Skeleton Crew waiting for Andor. We'll I'll plumb those depths and I'll see what Star Wars Theory had to say about Skeleton Crew. That's the wildest thing is leaving Twitter. I have no idea what that guy's doing. Just none whatsoever. I don't hear about any of it anymore. And it's like fantastic. It's like he doesn't exist most of the time.
Yeah, your blood pressure is a lot lower, I'm sure.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy that like taking up so much brain space. All you have to do is just ignore him and he just disappears. Yeah. Highly suggested. Everybody just leave Twitter. Listen, Facebook and Instagram are next. Let's just go. I know, man. Like, listen.
I can't get into this. I can't get. I think it's. I gotta
no.
Go
it's
an. I can't get into this.
It's an off the record topic. We'll talk about it next week. Now. I think. But yeah. We just need a way to figure out how to get our pictures off of there. I think you nailed it on the head. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the
20
thing.
Years of memories on there.
There's a bunch of history on there, and it's the only place that it exists. And we got to figure out how to rip all that stuff down and save it somewhere else, so that we can leave that ecosystem. It's okay. So, somebody's working on it. Somebody's working on it somewhere. That's it. We're talking about Facebook now. We're done. The episode's over. It's finished. Go home. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks everybody for enjoying the hell out of Skeleton Crew with us. Yeah.
Real quick, I've got 2 things to promote, actually.
Yes. Yeah, please.
Number 1, the love of my life, Tina Kiri. I'm very proud of her. Today she released her second ever officially licensed Star Wars print. It's called Beyond the Order. It features Lunchbox character Ahsoka Tano, along with a bunch of awesome Clone Wars characters. It's out today on Acme Archives website or darkinkart.com. Very excited about that. And the other thing that I'm finally able to announce that has been under NDA for a while is that Tina and I will be in the Epcot Festival of the Arts signing in February. So that's like literally a month from now. We'll be there signing. So we are signing February 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So Friday through Monday. My times are 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the first 3 days, and then 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. on the Monday. Tina is signing the hour before me. So yeah, come to the Japan Pavilion. Come hang out. Come say hi if you're in Epcot during the Festival of the Arts. Festival of the Arts is awesome, and it's not because we're there. It's awesome, and in addition, we will be there.
Yeah, you did this last year as well, right?
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
really great. We had such a great time.
That's cool.
Everybody
That's
we
awesome.
met was very different atmosphere than a normal like Star Wars convention, because it's Epcot. People are wasted coming out to you. Hey man, you're sounding really great. Like, oh, thank you. There are some plastered folks walking around Epcot.
I'm sure it's great for sales because people are then more
We
inclined
did
to
okay. We did pretty well. We were excited.
make a silly purchase.
Yeah.
Of an art print that they then have to carry around Epcot for the rest of the day.
Dude, I real quick, like there were people who had bought other prints of mine through Acme, but because
Yeah.
Acme prints them and hand numbers them, but I don't sign them because they ship out of California.
Yeah.
So I had people who brought my print from home for me to sign and then had to carry them around for the rest of the day. There was like 4 or 5 people that did that. I felt so bad, but I was very flattered that they cared enough to get my signature on it. It was really cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, all of them are awesome. Everybody we
That's
met
crazy.
last year was awesome.
Well, Joe, I'll have you know that the official Sonic the Hedgehog Instagram account shared my drawing of Agent Stone.
Did
on
they
their
really?
stories.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
And so like
I'm actually
like
gonna
100
go like
people
it.
saw it.
I'm gonna go like it. Is it on Instagram or on the other?
Oh,
idiot?
this was like 2 weeks ago. This was
Okay.
this
But what was
yeah.
it on? Was it on Instagram?
It was on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find it and like it.
Yeah, no, that's just me being like nobody notices my art.
But they
just put it
should.
out.
That's
And
exciting.
it's like, yeah.
Sonic.
No, I mean I have exciting stuff. By next week I'll be able to officially point you guys in the right direction towards my next big project. And it's something that I'm really excited about. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's we're yeah. I'm like champing at the bit. Like I just want to talk about it, but and it's not like I don't know. It's more of an indie thing, so it's not like I'm not like
It's still awesome.
I'm not under an NDA. I just don't want to like I don't want to start pushing people towards it until everything's kind of like ready,
of course,
right? Because it's like I want everybody to be able to like take action and do the right things the first time that I talk about it. So I'm just gonna hold off until next week. But by the time that we record for the finale next week, I'm sure that that everything will be out there. But I mean, like, go follow me on Instagram and or TikTok, because I am posting little teases. I've been posting some little teases the last couple days, about what I'm working on. So
is this the artwork you've been showing me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's guys. It's all everybody. It's awesome.
I don't want to hype this element of it up too much. The thing that I sent you most recently, and it was like, what the hell is this? Right. And I was like, don't you know? This is a character. Sometimes when we work on projects, right? Like we're creating things and you're and you know, working collaboratively with other people, and you're like, oh yeah, cool, okay, you know, and you create it organically and you're proud of it and whatever. Every once in a while, something happens in a creative project, especially when you're working with original stuff, where a character, you don't make the character. The character existed. The design existed. The concept already was in the universe. You're just the conduit that is bringing it
you just
to
pull
the
it
people.
from the ether.
Yeah. And this character that I just drew earlier this week is one of those things.
It's a delight.
And we've been working on this project for a year, developing stuff and getting everything ready to go. And I'm really proud of everything that I've done. But between me and my collaborator on this, and it's like he kind of wrote this character, and then I kind of have like visualized the character, and we've put these two things together. But like I said, I don't think that either one of us are responsible. I think that this character already existed, and we're just making it happen. And when I tell you that he is not even important to the project, but he will be the most important thing to come out of the project, it's just like, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you go to my Instagram right now, you can see a preview. You can see a little sneaky, a sneaky cheeky preview. He's on my Instagram and in my TikTok stories. So, actually, you know what? By the time this episode is out, it might be gone.
Oh.
It might be gone because there's stories, so they evaporate.
Oh no.
But that's okay because you guys won't have long to wait. Because once I can talk about this guy, it's all I'm going to talk about. I want to like abandon the rest of the project and just focus on this one thing.
Spinoff.
Yeah. We're talking animated series, lunchbox, action figures, plushies hanging in people's car windows. All of it. Yeah. I'm excited. We'll talk about that next week when we talk about the finale of Skeleton Crew. But go check out all the stuff that Joe just talked about. Go, plan a trip to Disney World.
Yeah.
Just so that you can buy his print.
You got a month.
And
easy.
Yeah. And definitely go check out Tina's print.
Yes, please.
Print multiple?
She has two. She has her second one, but today is just the one. Beyond the Order is the name of it.
Yep. Go check that out.
If you follow Tina Kiri at Tina Kiri on Instagram, go check her out there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out, guys, and we'll be back next week for the season finale sad tear emoji of Skeleton Crew, but it's the treasure was the friends we made along the way, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Follow Force Perspectives on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ForcePOV. And join us on Discord at thunderquack.com/Discord. Support the show by visiting us at patreon.com/thunderquack to get early access to episodes, leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast service, or buy merch at store.thunderquack.com. Force Perspectives is a part of the ThunderQuack Podcast Network.